It's known as the Motor City, with ties to the automobile industry that go back literally to day one. Its quintessential American music gave birth to the Motown sound. And yet it was plagued by a financial crisis that crippled and nearly killed this city. And now it's become one of America's greatest comeback stories. Let me share with you some of my hidden gems of Detroit. The word Detroit comes from the French, meaning strait. The term for the type of narrow body of water flowing between Lake Huron and Lake Erie, upon which Detroit was founded by French explorers in 1701. This settlement became a major hub of the Great Lakes fur trade, a precursor to Detroit's future as the epicenter of American auto manufacturing in the 20th century, transforming Detroit into the fourth largest city in America. But the good times didn't last. As automation and foreign competition eventually reduced, then devastated the Motor City's workforce, culminating in Detroit losing over 60% of its population, then declaring bankruptcy in 2013. In short order, it seemed as if America had written off Detroit. But now, there's a renaissance happening here, and ironically, one of the best ways to see the Motor City isn't in a car.
Biking is the way to see Detroit because it allows you to get out, experience Detroit in a real way where you can touch it and you can feel it.
Jason Hall is the founder of Ride Detroit, a company with a mission.
It's important for us to get people out into the sort of nooks and crannies of what really Detroit is.
A quick e-bike ride over MacArthur Bridge brings you to Belle Isle, sitting on the border with Canada. At 982 acres, it's the largest city-owned island park in the country.
It's kind of a step outside of the city, and people don't really get that.
With so many unexpected spots to discover, you can see why Belle Isle has the nickname the Jewel of Detroit. Now, where are we going now?
We are going to the oldest aquarium in the United States. And believe it or not, people don't even know it's here.
I didn't know it was here. You probably wouldn't guess it by looking at it, but when the Belle Isle Aquarium opened back in 1904, it was the third largest aquarium in the world. Seems pretty small.
Small, but there are over 50 different habitats inside this aquarium.
And while people do come to see the fish, the architecture is just as big of an attraction. Pretty cool.
You think this is cool? Let's go outside.
But we weren't going back to the bikes. Instead, we went around the back of the aquarium and then down below it, only to find a truly hidden gem, as downstairs, someone was waiting for us.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Is this what I think it is?
It's a speakeasy.
Michigan passed its own Prohibition Act in 1917, 2 years ahead of the nation, and the aquarium speakeasy soon followed.
So many important city officials would drink down here. So many gangsters would drink down here. They've been distilling whiskey on this river since the 1800s, and more whiskey crossed the river during Prohibition than in any other part of the United States.
Today, the drinks are poured legally now. No sneaking around, but you still have to find it. Everybody coming to the aquarium and nobody figured it out?
You know, this is those secret hidden parts of Detroit. We have such history, but we have those hidden places that you can find and discover, and if you're in the know, then you're in the know.
If there's one thing that Detroit is known for, besides cars, it's music. It was the birthplace of Motown Records, founded in 1959 by Berry Gordy Jr., in this two-story house called Hitsville, USA. With its carefully cultivated roster of performers and meticulously refined sound, Motown changed the landscape of American pop music, bringing mainstream success to black artists like The Temptations, The Four Tops, Diana Ross and the Supremes, Stevie Wonder, and the Jackson 5. Motown's crossover success with white audiences also played a part in advancing the civil rights movement. Over the decades, musicians from a wide range of genres have called Detroit home, including Bob Seger, Alice Cooper, and Eminem. And today, music is still being made here, literally, but not in Hitsville. That's now a museum.
Music is such a big part of what we are known for. We want to have people know that this was pressed right here in the Motor City.
Eddie Gillis is the operations manager at Third Man Pressing, founded by another Detroit musical native, Jack White.
He wanted to make his own records in his own pressing plant. So like the old days where you had a large record label that had their own pressing plant, we've gone back to that model.
Here you can see the entire process. To start, Third Man's mastering engineer Warren DeFever cut a record on an aluminum plate.
You're going to drop the cutter head very slowly. Yep, just like that.
Okay.
And then I come over here and start the music,
Okay.
and we are cutting. We're in the groove.
So it's cutting right now.
Yeah, we see the levels moving. We got 120 lines per inch going.
And how long will this process take?
You cut it real time. So this is a 2.5 minute piece, and this is the master that they use to create all the 10,000 records they press.
And that process happens out on the main factory floor.
This is our PVC. It's in a granular form.
Wow. And this stuff turns into a record?
That's right.
Looks like a bad breakfast cereal.
I call them record seeds.
The seeds are loaded into a hopper to be melted down into a vinyl puck.
There it is.
Ooh,
That's our puck. Very hot, 300 degrees. Ooh.
Which is then rolled in with other PVC pellets to add color.
That's it.
Then the multicolor puck is loaded into the press, where the vinyl is molded against a metallic copy of the master, duplicating the grooves of the music. This is records the old-fashioned way.
This is how it's been done for decades and decades. The technology hasn't changed since it was invented by Edison, basically. Done by hand, there is no fast way to do it.
And just 90 seconds later,
You just made a record.
wow,
Peel it off, and right onto the trim table. There we go. Now the hot blade is trimming that edge. And there's your record.
now that's cool.
Hot off the press, as they say.
Detroit is a major sports town with 4 pro teams: the Lions, the Pistons, the Red Wings, and the Tigers. At Comerica Park, there's a statue of one of the greatest baseball legends of all time, Hammer and Hank Greenberg. No relation, but there is a connection. My dad and Hank went to James Monroe High School in New York. I used to hear stories about Hammer and Hank all the time. But this isn't where Hank played. That was Tiger Stadium, which has been transformed into a home for an entire new generation of players.
Pretty exciting. Every time I walk through here, I still feel the feeling of years ago.
Growing up, James White watched the Tigers play on this spot. Today, the stadium has been demolished and rebuilt as the corner ballpark. And as Detroit's chief of police, James comes here for a different reason. It's the headquarters of the Police Athletic League, an organization connecting officers and the community's children through sports.
And the officers that we have involved in the Police Athletic League, I could not be prouder of them to mentor and work with the kids. They not only work with the kids on baseball, but other sports with PAL, because they recognize the kids aren't just our future, the kids are our now, and we have to be present in their lives to give them the opportunities that they need to be successful. I want one of these kids to be the next police chief.
Or the next first baseman.
Next first baseman, right?
Of course, some people are still only passing through town, literally, but they can still experience Detroit hospitality.
Welcome aboard the MS Westcott. We're going to go deliver some mail.
James Michael Hogan is the president and owner of the JWcot Company. And since 1874, they've served a vital purpose.
We deliver to every commercial vessel that comes through the Port of Detroit.
For the freighters and container ships traveling down the Detroit River that aren't able to make port, to get mail, packages, and any other type of delivery, the JWcot Company goes to them.
Great-grandfather John Ward Westcott started in a rowboat, and he rowed out to midstream on this same water out here. The only one of our kind that delivers to vessels that are on the move.
So you're a moving floating post office.
Yes, indeed.
It's the only floating zip code in the country. The ships run 24/7, so the JWcot Company makes around 20 trips a day, and they can't slow down. And if you ask and time it just right, you can ride along and even help with the delivery.
So you can see the gentleman up there on the deck. He's got a yellow
right there.
on.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
going to drop the bucket.
And you can see why the company motto is mail by the pail.
Honestly, the trick of this trade has been to keep it simple. Technology might get in the way. Now, here it comes, the bucket. You can grab the bucket.
And if you wonder whether this postman always rings twice, it's because the crews of the big ships often send something back down in that bucket, and it's not just outgoing mail.
They give us cookies.
And one exciting ride.
They can go out and come back generally with the hugest smiles on their face, thinking that that's probably one of the neatest things they've ever done. Wow, this is the best. This is how we get paid. Cookies and pastries. It doesn't get any better.
Oreo cheesecake, baby.
Just another day on the Detroit River, Peter.
Yeah. It's just another hidden gem waiting to be discovered in Detroit.